The phone calls started at dawn. Emergency meetings convened in capitals across 3 continents. Stock markets trembled. Diplomatic channels buzzed with urgent messages. What happened in the pre-dawn hours wasn't just another headline. It was the moment when months of careful negotiations, strategic positioning, and international diplomacy suddenly hung by the thinnest of threads. Picture this. Just hours before the strike, there were quiet hopes of breakthrough. Behind closed doors, 2 nations that have been locked in shadow warfare for decades were actually talking. Real negotiations, nuclear deals on the table, sanctions relief being discussed. The kind of diplomatic progress that doesn't make flashy headlines, but could reshape an entire region. Then came the sound no diplomat wanted to hear. Explosions lit up the night sky over multiple Iranian cities. Not just any targets. This wasn't symbolic saber-rattling. These were precision strikes hitting the most sensitive installations imaginable. Israel launched large-scale strikes against Iran on Friday, saying it had attacked nuclear facilities and missile factories and killed a swathe of military commanders in what could be a prolonged operation to prevent Tehran building an atomic weapon. The irony is breathtaking. While President Trump was publicly pursuing his nuclear deal with Tehran, the kind of art of the deal diplomacy he built his reputation on, his closest Middle Eastern ally was systematically dismantling the very facilities those negotiations were meant to address. Trump opposed an Israeli strike on Iran just hours earlier. The images are already circulating, satellite photos showing significant damage to the Natanz nuclear facility, smoke rising from Tabriz, reports of strikes on missile manufacturing plants in Shiraz. This wasn't a warning shot. This was surgical dismantlement of Iran's most strategic capabilities. Now 3 questions hang in the air, each more consequential than the last. First, how will Iran respond? Their leaders are already vowing revenge, but with their nuclear program damaged and military commanders dead, their options have suddenly become far more limited and far more desperate. Second, what happens to those nuclear negotiations now? Can Trump salvage a diplomatic process that his ally just blew up, quite literally? Or was this strike coordinated all along, a brutal form of negotiating from strength? And third, what comes next in a region where the most heavily armed nation just struck the nuclear facilities of its most dangerous enemy, potentially crossing a red line that diplomats have spent years trying to keep sacred? The dawn that brought these strikes may have just ushered in an entirely new chapter in Middle Eastern geopolitics, one where the rules everyone thought they understood no longer apply. We'll examine Iran's response options and what this means for the millions of civilians now caught between 2 nations sliding toward the unthinkable.